Okay guys, so this soccer field right here is what Pablo Escobar built for the people, to give them something. Pablo always did stuff to help out the people in his city that he was living in. And majority of the city was poor, so he would like to help out anyone that, you know, couldn't fend for themselves or didn't have a lot of money. And he actually built all this for the people. It's crazy, crazy. But we're gonna let Kevin explain a little bit more.
But at some point, Pablo Escobar realized that the cocaine business had a huge profit. Only 1 kilo of cocaine was going to have the same profit that 39 trucks full of smuggling and selling in the black market.
Right.
And these guys were making a lot of money, much more before Pablo Escobar. Pablo Escobar didn't start the cocaine business or finish with this. He just make it bigger. He put it another level because he passed to send kilos to tons.
Wow.
In United States, yeah.
That's crazy.
So how he did that? We were talking about how it started the cocaine in Latin America. A lot of pharmaceutical companies, you know, after First World War, started to use the chlorhydrate of cocaine in their products. But they realized later that the problem is that it's really addictive.
Yeah.
So they banned all these companies, all these products that they were making. You just talk about one company that probably started with that. They don't say no and they don't say yes, you know?
Yeah.
What happened? Here in Colombia, since 100 years ago, unfortunately, we became really good on smuggling. Why? Because of the location. Colombia is the first country in South America, or the last one, if you're coming from Central America, that had 2 seas, Pacific and Atlantic. A lot of opportunities to receive and take everything out. So we became really good on that, on smuggling. But in some point, the Colombian smugglers realized that the illegal cocaine had a lot of profit in the United States and Europe. What they started to do, smuggling but with cocaine. Doing the same, going to Peru, Bolivia, receiving the cocaine paste, still there like the organic part of the cocaine, and taking it here to Colombia through the borders, and in small laboratories and in small houses making chlorhydrate of cocaine, 98% of purity, which represented a lot of profit in the United States. Because from 1 brick, if you cut it, you can get 4 bricks. So
that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy.
So that's what they were mainly doing. In 1976, he was crossing 19 kilos of cocaine paste through the border with Ecuador, and he was pulled over. I mean, his people was pulled over, and they grabbed him because he tried to deal with the agents, but they were not corrupted people. They stopped him. He was sent to jail, and that's where this famous picture come from. That's the first mugshot in 1976.
The only guy who smiled too.
Yeah, he said like, I don't care, motherfuckers.
Yeah. It's crazy.
But he didn't spend a long time in jail, guys.
How long?
Not so long. Because he was powerful, there was people outside, he was dangerous, he was respected, and beside that he was treating the judges that had his case, mainly one judge that had his case. He used to send her flowers at her home with a letter inside that sometimes say, "I'm so sorry for your loss," and below that the name of her kids. "We invite you to your funeral," robbing her cars, making her crazy and intimidating her. In one time she said, I won't keep on with the case. I'm gonna abandon the case. She went to the media and she said, if something happened to me or my family, is gonna be the blame of Pablo Escobar and Gustavo Gaviria. But she abandoned the case. Pablo Escobar was released, but because who was going to take the case again?
Yeah.
Not a lot of people.
Fear. It was the fear that he drove to get his power.
And he was released. Few years after that. You know, guys, it's not like this all the time, but the easiest people to manipulate always are the less educated people, the poorest. So he focused on them. He started to give to the poorest houses, soccer fields, churches, sports centers, cars, taxis, to the poorest people. So the poor people decided to say, okay, this is the guys we need. He came from the same place that us, and he's helping us from his own pocket without being elected yet. The people fell in love with him at that time. But to me, and to a lot of people, that was his worst decision because he put himself in the spotlight. Because everybody started to ask, okay, who is this guy? Where does he come from? Why is he so powerful in Medellin? Why all that money? Who the hell is Pablo Escobar? But in Medellin, everybody knew who was El Patron, who was Pablito. Everybody knew it. But not in all Colombia, not in Cartagena, not in the south side, not everybody knows. So everybody started to say, okay, who is this guy in the government too? For example, in the interviews, you can see that he talked with the journalist Virginia Vallejo, that is Valeria in the series, and she was not killed, she's still alive, and she wrote a book too.
Oh, wow.
And she used to tell him in the interviews, okay, Pablo, where does all your money come from? Why all that power? And he used to say, okay, all my money comes from my legal business, transportation and construction and cattle. Obviously, that was his main business, but we didn't understand the real background. Because he said construction, because Pablo Escobar was floating Colombia with a lot of dollars from that business, and they had to launder it. First, through the banks in Panama, with his good friend Manuel Noriega. The other part came in cash to Colombia, and they had to launder it. How? Buying everything. The lands, the hoods, the buildings, the fabrics. So in some way, guys, a lot of people was working with Pablo Escobar, not only the poor people, the rich people too, because they were buying their properties in higher prices just to launder the money. So that's something I don't like. Yes, Pablo Escobar was something really bad that happened to us. But we have to admit that we supported in some way, not my generation, the other generation, but still my people. So we have to admit it, yes, we committed a huge mistake, probably because we were not that really good educated and we didn't have that, all those opportunities. Pablo got into the government.
I think that was his wrong move too, right?
Yeah, unfortunately. And he said transportation, guys, because they were owners of a lot of thousand taxi cabs in Colombia. We are talking about Gustavo and Pablo, but not for money, because in that way they had eyes and ears everywhere. When you're driving a taxi cab, you can listen to conversations of everywhere, so you know what's the people saying, what's going on. And he used to give these taxi cabs to poor guys, like, hey bro, this is your taxi cab. A guy that didn't have anything and now had a taxi, thanks to Pablo Escobar, he was going to be loyal with him.
Right.
He was grateful. Pablo got into the government, but guys, you know, luckily we had really honest person in the government, really honest people that defended the Constitution of Colombia with their lives, because all of them were killed by Pablo Escobar. They became their political enemies because they knew that that guy sitting in the Congress with them was the biggest criminal in the world at that time, but we didn't realize. So what they were trying to do, trying to find a proof that Pablo Escobar was the worst criminal that we ever had in Colombia. Until in 1983 that Guillermo Cano, the owner of the periódico El Espectador, the newspaper El Espectador, the most important newspaper, found the proof. This picture that you have there. They found that picture and they showed it in the first plane in that day. Pablo Escobar was completely humiliated in the Congress by the Minister of Justice, Rodrigo Lara Bonilla. And beside that, the DEA sent some pictures of this guy that were taken by this guy, Barry Seal. I don't know if you have heard about him. Yes, the American pilot that was in the business. He was one of his most killed pilots. But in some point, the DA found this guy and he had to decide, are you gonna help with your country or are you gonna be in jail your whole life? He sold Pablo Escobar. Once when they were in Nicaragua, they were moving the cocaine from Pablo's plane to another plane and he took 2 pictures. They sent it to the Minister of Justice, Rodrigo Lara Bonilla, and they have those 2 proofs. He was a Colombian criminal and an international drug dealer. He was kicked out. He said he quit because he had to.
Perfect. Look at this. Fresh is the real deal.
Fresh. And you're gonna see how sweet are those oranges. The fruits. Have you ever tried the fruits here?
No.
We have many different kind of exotic fruits, and most of them are really sweet because we have really good soil. So there are places where we can throw everything and it's gonna grow.
Yeah,
It's really good.
It's the real deal. Even back home, our stuff has too much we call it preservatives. Too much stuff like that. This is like fresh, like
Organic, really organic.
yeah. Yes. That's cool. So this big soccer field you built. I didn't think it was gonna be this big.
And it was not the only one.
No?
In Castilla, another place in the west side of Medellin, northwest. There was another one. Yeah.
So that was his tactic pretty much.
Yes.
Butter everybody up, especially the people who uneducated.
Yeah.
Create like solid alliance and family. And then a lot of history. A lot of history. Let's get a taste of this. Cheers. Cheers, brother. That's a real deal.
Wow.
That's good,
Amazing.
So good. Sour like it should taste.
So
Perfecto.
yeah.
Where is it? What is it?
Yeah, it's like a graffiti alley, right?
Yeah.
All the graffitis.
Yeah, but the beautiful thing about this is that Comuna 13 was the most violent area in Latin America, not only in Colombia or in Medellin, in Latin America. Imagine worse than a favela in any Brazil, a favela in Brazil, or Boca in Argentina.
Venezuela.
Yeah,
The most dangerous place.
it was the most dangerous place. But the history of transformation is beautiful because you know why? It was the young people who decided to change the guns for spray cans. Yeah, to change the criminal life for art.